This is a huge franchise. I'm just going to go out and say Mortal Kombat is a huge franchise. But what do you think it is about Mortal Kombat that makes this franchise such a like global favorite?
Well, I think it's the characters within it. I think the characters are the fundamental key ingredient. And then what the guys at NetherRealm have done so beautifully, so expertly over the years is they've known what the ingredients are that make Mortal Kombat up. And I talk about ingredients because over the last couple of years, it's been talking about, I've been really analyzing all the various different elements that are within it so we could get the tone right. So I think they understand, and they built and built and built and really focused in and made this very, very clean, singular kind of piece of IP that you really understand. So, but it's all built on the characters. I think the characters are the heart and soul of it.
So, talking about the characters, the cast that you assembled, this film, like you really went around the world. Literally, everyone is in a different country right now, I think. But the cast you assembled for this film is truly global, truly diverse, and truly talented. What can you tell me about working with this cast?
Well, they were all, it was an amazing experience. They're all fantastic. It was a really great family atmosphere. Um, some and we all just, it was a really great feeling on set. It was really hard work. There were times when, you know, the pressure was on, but it's an incredibly, all of them brought an enormous amount to the table and really to delivered on that. So that because, and they all came with great ideas about their character. They'd all done their homework, and they all came ready to work, and that actually made it a really great experience. They're all, casting these guys was a process that each character needed a certain specific set of key pieces. Joe Taslim needed to be Sub-Zero because Joe is an extraordinary martial arts fighter. He's got great screen presence, and he's actually a really good actor as well. And so he had the right balance of who's going to play our sort of one of our main bad guys. Someone like Josh Lawson, who plays Kano, we needed Kano to deliver this mixture of someone who you really didn't like at all, is the worst human being in the whole movie. In fact, he's the worst character as a sort of a character study in the film, but he's also extremely funny. And Josh is a very gifted comedic actor, so we needed someone who understood the sort of comedic timing that was baked into his, and a lot of his lines are just Josh's improv. Jess did an amazing job with Sonia because Sonia is very earnest and honest and authentic, and she did a great job of pulling it off. So they all came with all their natural abilities and just really hit it out of the park. So it's a great experience.
I would say in talking with the talent, they first of all love you so much. They talk about how much of a great collaborator you are. When it comes to the stunts are epic. I will watch a scene and replay that scene kind of like in half speed just to like understand that choreography. And as I understand, that was also a very collaborative process. What could you tell me about preparing the talent that had a martial arts background to then work with talent who may have, you know, taken a class once or twice before but didn't come from that background?
Well, the key, I think, was that, let's use Jess as an example. Jess is not a fighter, but she's really coordinated and super athletic, and put the time in to learn certain things where she needed to. Joe, on the other hand, or Lewis or Max, they came with their brains completely programmed of a lifetime of fighting and training, and they just put the time in before, and then they could come in. And so Chan Griffin, our fight choreographer, and Kyle Gardner, the stunt coordinator, those guys were incredible, and their team of stunties were just an amazing group. And we all just, I believe that when you collaborate and communicate really clearly and take everyone's ideas, doesn't mean I use everyone's ideas, but I take in their ideas, and most of their ideas were excellent. It was just sometimes I'd have to think, no, that doesn't quite work, or that. But everyone's ideas just built and built and built, and just up the ante all the time, and just made it better and better and better. Joe had many wonderful ideas. Hiroyuki Sanada had many wonderful ideas within their fight that Chan had choreographed, and Kyle. And so it was just this great combination of respectful, lovely people, all just working to help make each other better, and to make the sequences as good as possible. So yeah, that was a really enjoyable part of the process.
That sounds like the dream, honestly. Like
Yeah,
everyone kind of working together in a
yeah,
very lovely way.
yeah.
So that's the fighting component, but there's other parts that are visually striking. I hearkened to that opening scene, in Japan, and how the details I feel like were very authentic. And when you see the costuming on your different characters, can you walk us through the process of how you envisioned these characters to take them out of like the video game world and into our like real world?
Yeah, so three people need to be mentioned. Naaman Marshall, production designer, unbelievably talented human being. Cappy Island, costume designer, unbelievable, so brilliant. And Sebastian Ciaflegone, I butchered his last name, but he was the concepts artist that worked with Cappy on the costumes. So what I was saying to these guys was authenticity, detail, real, and it was all about layering and detail and lived in, so that you felt like when we visit Japan, for instance, we feel like this. Sorry, my Siri's gone off. We feel that this is a lived in, we're just getting a moment of time within the world that they've been living in. And so that attention to detail, and we had many conversations about wood finish, and like even in the Japanese, in the opening of Japan, you see some of the walls that that are made out of paper. Well, on there's also little repair work, and that's what they used to do. So they wouldn't have windows or glass, so you would repair the paper, and so the little details like that all build to make it feel very authentic. And when it's authentic, you believe. So my goal is to get the audience to believe. And the costumes we spent a lot of time working on the costumes to make them feel, again, lived in, detailed, layered, but also respectful of where they came from. Each of these characters had many different looks and feels. And we had a room for each character. We had a giant room with as many iterations of the characters that have existed as we had them all up on the walls. And so each time we were working on the design of the costumes, we would look at where they'd come from and took little elements and felt like, okay, have we got while it may not be exact, have we got the key elements that make up Kung Lao and his hat, and make up Sub-Zero, and even Sonia because it's quite simple, but I didn't want it to feel simplistic. So Kano's the same. So sometimes you can go over the top and it just feels like it's just affectation. So it was just a balancing act of that detail and texture.
So this movie is big. It's a lot of fun. I imagine that filming was a very memorable experience. I can't comprehend how many stories that everyone has, but some stories that I've heard have been the time Joe Taslim ate a whole box of popsicles after dinner, like all the popsicles. Do you have any fun stories from the set that you can share with us?
Well, Joe ate I mean, he's a physical specimen, that guy. He's unbelievable. He eats the worst food. He's always eating. I don't know how he does it. But, well, one funny thing was Ludi Lin was always, every time we'd be on set, he'd always come up to me, Simon, I've had an idea. And he would always have these ideas. And he'd sort of this very spiritual, sweet, he's a lovely guy, Ludi. I've had this idea. And then one idea he had in that scene with he and Cole, where the acupuncture goes in and he's repairing his wound and they talk to each other. That was all Ludi's idea, all that acupuncture stuff. And so he, as he's telling this idea, he told me like 2 weeks before we were shooting that scene, I said, Ludi, not now. I've got too much to think about. I can't think about acupuncture right now. He's like, okay. So then he comes back again. Have you thought about the acupuncture? I said, oh, Ludi, I'm not sure about that. I don't know. Let me think. Then on the set on the day, he says, I brought the acupuncture needles today. And the great thing about Ludi is he never, ever, ever lets go. He's just always at you, right? In the most beautiful way. And then, so he's talking to me about the acupuncture. And then Lewis overhears and he comes up and says, what are you talking about these needles for? And he starts to get a bit panicky. And I said, all right, Ludi, you can do it. You can do it. Okay. And then I said, you guys go and work it out and then come. And then they're over there for a while. And then Lewis comes over to me and says, Simon, you have to save me from Ludi. And I said, what's he doing? He said, he wants to put needles in me. I said, don't worry, it's going to be fine. And I said, you just go there and sort it out with Ludi. And so they did. They sorted it out and they got the scene worked out really well. And yeah, it was all Ludi's idea, that. And it was very funny. Lewis was hilarious through that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, it was, and that's the sort of thing that's what I always believe, that you bring good moments out by allowing people to bring ideas. And, you know, by and large, everyone's ideas were really great. So that was fun.
Scorpion or Sub-Zero?
Oh, I love them both so much. Scorpion.
What do you think it is about Mortal Kombat that has made this franchise such a global franchise?
Well, first of all, I think it's different. I think it's got a huge history, and I think it's global because it's got so much diversity. It's got so many elements in it, and diversity adds meaning and adds interest. I think that's what our movie is trying to represent as well. It's that right now, being as interconnected as we are, we're not making a movie just for one specific nation. We're making a movie for the world. In our movie, just like the video game, our cast come from all corners of the world, from Japan, from Germany, where Max is, from China, Canada, US, Australia, everywhere. So we want people to be easily relatable, and our characters to be easily relatable to people.
Awesome. Max?
Yeah, I can just agree with what Ludi said. I think the whole world of Mortal Kombat is much different than any other video game, and I think it's partly also because of the gore and all of that. But I think what makes Mortal Kombat special too are the characters. You know, they're very iconic and interesting characters. And then on top of that, you have those different worlds, like the realms. So over the time, I mean, now we have a whole Mortal Kombat universe. And I hope that in the future, we'll be getting more films to tell all those stories. I love the fact that the studio and the director and the producers made the decision to go with a very authentic approach in terms of how they would choose the cast. And so I think that is something that is new as well, because I mean, in the past we had, for example, our heroes were, for example, Bruce Lee, and he appeared in a very big Hollywood film called Enter the Dragon. But in that film, he was the only Asian character. Whereas now today we get the opportunity to show a whole ensemble of Asian actors starring in a movie, and they're all playing very strong characters. So I'm very, very proud and feeling very blessed to be part of this project.
Absolutely. And what are your earliest memories of Mortal Kombat? Did you grow up playing the games?
Yeah, I think Mortal Kombat, as a kid playing Mortal Kombat, it's always kind of a guilty pleasure. You wonder if you're actually getting away with something. Um, yeah, so when you're in an arcade and you pull off a fatality, first of all, you're shocked, and then you're looking around to see if anyone saw you do that. And then it was nice when you got Sega Genesis and you can do it all day at home. It's kind of I don't know, it's kind of cathartic, I think. For our movie, I think we wanted to take that gore and all that violence and all that excitement and make it not gratuitous, and make it something that actually meant things to the characters. And in this world of Mortal Kombat, they come from a very tough and dangerous world full of challenges. And that's this concept of arcana that we're bringing to the movie. It says something to my inner child, because I think it represents inner truth of each of the characters, and that truth comes from the legacy I have as a kid and in relation to Mortal Kombat. So I tie that together, and I think it's really gratifying.
Max, did you play the games or?
I played the games when I was since I was a kid, but recently buying MK11. I mean, that's one of my favorite games. I'm not that much of a gamer, to be honest with you, but when it comes to Mortal Kombat, I enjoy it a lot.
Nice. Can you guys tell me about the relationship between Liu Kang and Kung Lao?
Yeah, I think, first of all, in this film, they are cousins. And so their background basically is from being Shaolin monks, right? And training under the master Bo Choi in the Wuxi Academy, as everyone knows, I'm sure. So they kind of acting as, they really complement each other, meaning that it's kind of like yin and yang, where you need both of the sides to have balance, to create balance. So I think Kung Lao would always be there for Liu Kang, and Liu Kang would always support Kung Lao. That's kind of the relationship they have. And in terms of the characters, I think Liu Kang is a very monk-like character who is very pure, and he prays, and he's very centered, I feel. Whereas Kung Lao is sometimes a bit cocky, and he likes to confront people, and you can see that in the movie. I mean, he does all the fatalities. That's that's how he deals with stuff.
Yeah, I think what Max says is right on, because we had a conversation in the beginning of the movie where right away we agreed that this is their most important relationship. As for Liu Kang, he's got a very traumatic history, and he's like a lone wolf searching for a pack, and Kung Lao was the first companion that he got. In terms of cousins, I grew up in China, and over there I just call my cousins brothers. And the Shaolin, that's how you become. You don't have a family, so you go to a temple and you become a family. And so Liu Kang, throughout the story, he's searching to grow his pack, because in order to overcome this challenge that the whole world faces, you can't just strengthen yourselves individually. You need to find a pack, because you're always stronger together. So that's what they found. And for Liu Kang and Kung Lao, they have a very strong history together. the yin and the yang. And you know, for Liu Kang, he's got this inner fire, and Kung Lao is kind of like the shield that protects that fire from exploding and hurting other people.
Right. So can you talk about how your martial arts training has really prepared you for this role? I remember hearing that, you know, the choreography for this was unlike any other choreography that has been allowed in film. So I think that your martial arts background is like really important to this. So how do you feel that your, you know, training prepared you for this?
You think? Sorry, I think you know, portraying martial arts in front of the camera in films it's a much different game than fighting in real life, for example, in a competition, because you need to take care of the other actor, not to hurt him. Whereas in real life, your main focus is to, you know, hurt someone else in order to win. So it's a different approach, and I think all of the actors, most of them, do have a very professional background and a lot of experience when it comes to martial arts fight scenes. So for myself, I've been training in martial arts for 20 years right now, and I got very lucky that the style that Kung Lao has, which is more of a Southern Shaolin style, and he also does have a lot of Wing Chun elements in his fighting style. So I was very lucky that I, in the past, had the opportunity to study all of those styles, even though I didn't know that I would land the role later on. So that helped a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, they say success luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And for this film, we definitely had to be prepared. If we started from zero, we would have never made it to the finish. In terms of choreography, I think it is different than I would say a lot of films out there. Simon, our director, really wanted that physical, gritty, analog feel to it, whereas a lot of films right now rely heavily on CG. We had to actually deal out the real action. So our experiences definitely came in handy and probably helped us live through this process.
And so you mentioned like working with Simon. How was it working with the director?
It was fantastic. Simon, first and foremost, his focus was being authentic. He was very open to what he casted us because he felt like we could bring something authentic to these characters, and that's the responsibility that we have to own up to. And it's actually our responsibility to him and the story and to the whole world that's waiting for this movie to speak up when we feel something is right for the character. And when we did that, he was totally open to it. And I always want to bring something that's different, like some iconic scenes where it had to do with, you know, traditional Chinese medicine. I feel like that hasn't been seen before, so I want to bring that to the screen. Sometimes we're limited by time and just what we had to do, because ideas bounce around in my head a lot. But he was always open to hearing about it. There was this one moment actually that really touched me, that really showed me that Simon's mind and heart is in the right place, is when, remember the first time, Max, when we did your entrance scene and we didn't have enough time?
Yes, I remember. I mean, I totally agree with what Louis said. I think Simon is such a great director who leaves so much space for the actors to come up with their own ideas and implement that into the film. So for instance, in that case, there's an entrance scene of Kung Lao, and we didn't have enough time at the day to film it. We could have filmed it, but it would have ended up differently and not as good. So Simon took a moment and decided that we would add another extra day in order to shoot it, that entrance of Kung Lao the right way. And I was so grateful for that, because that was a very crucial point for not only the story but also for the character to be part of the film. So I think Simon is one of those human beings, directors, who really knows what he wants. So he has a very strong vision of how this film should look like. At the same time, he's leaving enough space for other people to come in, to give and share their ideas with him. And I think that's a great quality that he has and should keep for future projects.
Mortal Kombat. It is huge. You cannot go anywhere in the world without running into someone who knows what Mortal Kombat is. So, what do you believe about Mortal Kombat that makes this franchise such a global favorite?
Well, I think it's, you know, is a combination of things. You know, I think it's sense of adventure, I think, one, and I think it's also it's extreme violence. I think it's you know, it's a bunch of things, and I think it also has so many colorful characters and interesting, you know, people to play with. So I think it has its appeal in that way. And on top of that, you know, I remember when I was a child playing it, it always felt a little transgressive playing it, because it almost was like, this is something you're not supposed to do, and then you're doing it. And I think some people like to feel that way.
It's like a little taboo-ish, right, to be playing this game. So that's a great segue into this next question. So what are your earliest memories of playing Mortal Kombat? Like, when you were playing the games, what console were you playing on, or do you have a specific story that you can recall?
Well, I'm gonna date myself because um, the how I played Mortal Kombat was on the giant amusement game, you know, where you put coins in, and then you have this toggle, and then you have these buttons, and you know, it was hardcore, because you know, you're gonna play someone who's standing right next to you. You know, you don't have the, you know, the safety of of the Wi-Fi or internet to protect yourself from. If you beat that person, or that person beats you, you know, you have to reckon with a real person over there. So I remember playing that stuff, and it was a lot of fun to play.
Was there a specific character that you always picked?
I kind of liked, yeah, I liked Kung Lao. You know, Kung Lao was always so cool. You know, with the hat and all that stuff. He was almost like a character from a Western, right? I mean, when he shows up, you know, with the swagger and then the hat, you know, it's almost like the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or one of these, you know, Westerns, or the Magnificent Seven. So I like them now.
Absolutely. So what can you tell me about Shang Tsung?
I can tell you that Shang Tsung is one of the most powerful sorcerers in our world, and he is a shapeshifter and a consummate soul taker. He has to consume these souls to keep his power and his youth. It's something that he has been cursed with by the elder gods. So he is devious, and he is interestingly diabolical, but we love him all the same.
What did it feel like putting on? I mean, when I watched it, Shang Tsung is bigger than life. Like, he commands the screen. So, and I think part of it is when you put on the costume. And what was that like, putting on that costume for the first time?
It was, you know, it was so interesting, you know, because the costume takes a long time to put together, and it takes a village, really. I mean, it takes a whole lot of people to put it together, because it has so many parts to it. It has the chest plate, and then the shoulder plates, and then these things, and you know, underneath it, there's still other stuff, and then there's a cloak that goes on behind it. So there's a lot of parts, and there's a lot of parts for good reason, because you know, I mean, only with all these separate parts can you move, you know, quite you know, agilely and fight, really. So it was incredible. I mean, it's a very heavy costume, but once you put it on, you know, it's an out of body experience. You know, you feel transformed, basically, and you feel powerful, you know, because it is so heavy, and there's so much heft to it. So I loved wearing it, but it is very hot and very heavy in it.
Especially in Australia, right?
Yes, especially in Australia. When were we shooting? Yeah, it was. I think it was summer. I think when we were doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the cast assembled for this film is truly global. I don't think that any of y'all are in the same country right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
You guys are truly diverse and truly talented. What can you say it was like working with your castmates?
It was wonderful. I think they came with so much. I think they for one thing, I mean, they're all great actors, but they're also great fighters, and they come with different backgrounds and different things. Joe Taslim with his judo, or Lewis with his Muay Thai, and Max with his Wushu, and Ludi with his own training. Uh, but more than that, I think there was such a sense of camaraderie and community. We ate together. We we uh, we they went on a potty cruise together, but that's a different story altogether. Uh, we did a lot of things together. Some very memorable. It was a wonderful time. Especially when you're doing a movie like this, and then the movie is about groups of people working together. Whether you're from Outworld or from Earthrealm, you are not going to win either of these realms by yourself. And I think that is the message within this movie, right? I mean, you can only win if you work together. And so I think that is a message that we're very proud of, and I think we're very, I'm very proud of the cast that has been assembled for this film as well.
Absolutely. And speaking of that collaboration, from what I understand, it wasn't just with the castmates, it was also with your director. What was it like working with Simon McQuaid?
Simon is a pure gift to work with. I mean, his knowledge of Mortal Kombat is very extensive and very comprehensive. You feel like you're in very safe hands. But not only that, I mean, he's such a great storyteller, and he has such a great love for every single one of the characters. Every single one of the characters has a moment to shine in this movie, and that's a lot of characters to be thinking about. And so I loved working with Simon. On top of the fact that he's incredibly collaborative, he always has a moment to listen to what you have to suggest or what you have to bring to it. And it was a true pleasure of working with him.
So we spoke about how your costume had to have like all these different moving parts for agility, because there are a lot of stunts. There are a lot of movements and a lot of choreography. Can you tell me about the process or what you did to kind of train and prepare for that?
I think anytime you do a film like this, you try to be as fit as you can, and because you never know what's going to transpire in the course of the couple of months that you're shooting. On top of the fact that Simon is so collaborative, so at times if we feel that something is going to serve the story, if we feel that it's going to resonate with the fans or speak to the fans in any kind of way, neither Simon nor Greg nor the actors, we're precious about what we have, and that is written. We are first and foremost trying to make a movie for the fans, and and for cinema lovers. So because of that, you always have to be ready, and you always have to be fit, and so uh, yeah, that's we stayed fit for the film.
I will say that this movie is so much fun. I have had the privilege of getting to watch it, and I've replayed some scenes, and I imagine filming it was also equally as fun. Do you have any like stories that you can share with me about your time on set?
Well, filming of action sequences are very interesting, right? Because I mean, we see them as one complete piece, but it might take days to film, and we're shooting it from one angle, and then we're shooting from another, or we're shooting it as as a long master shot. And then, you know, when you throw in the visual effects, you know, and then that it becomes a whole thing. I mean, an action sequence can take days to shoot. So, you know, I only have this to say about you know, all the actors who were involved with the action sequences, like Lewis and Max and Ludi and, you know, and Jessica and I'm sure I'm missing out someone, but all of these, and Joe Taslim, of course. I think that the number of hours that I've seen them put into these scenes, and you know, we'll be at dinner, and then you know they'll be comparing bruises and stuff, and it's incredible, you know. So you know, I couldn't be happier to be with this bunch of actors.
All right, so the most important question that everyone has had me ask is Scorpion or Sub-Zero?
Ooh, that is such a tricky question. Okay, I have to say, Scorpion during the months of fall and winter, and Sub-Zero for the months of spring and summer.
You've been in some amazing movies. You've been a part of incredible franchises, but what do you think it is about Mortal Kombat that makes this franchise such a global favorite?
I think this Mortal Kombat has a lot of great characters with you know, great background story or something, and then yeah, a lot of international characters there. So you know, every audience can have a own favorite and enjoy playing. So that's why it's so popular, and then matching for every country, I think.
Absolutely. And off of that, the diversity of the cast, the cast that was assembled, everyone's global. Everyone's in a different country right now. Everyone's diverse and honestly so talented. What can you tell me about working with your castmates?
Yeah, I had so much fun on set, and especially mainly I worked with Joe Taslim and then Louis Tan. You know, they're so funny and very nice guys, and then hard worker. And during the rehearsal, you know, we joked around and then playing around together, but also we put in some ideas, including the scenes, especially for the choreograph, you know, as our character with the emotion. I want to do this. Oh, so I want to go that way. Oh, in that case, I can do this. And, you know, we put a lot of ideas together. So that was a great collaboration with them. And also during lunchtime, waiting time, we talked a lot. And then after the shooting, we had a wine together. You know, we created a great relationship.
That's really awesome that you got to collaborate like that. So with that, that means that, you know, you had a director who really encouraged that collaboration. Could you tell me more about working with Simon McQuaid?
Yeah, when I first time talking with him, we had a video session, and we talked about the characters, or the balance between drama and action. I believe we could understand each other very well. So I jumped into this shooting, and on set, he had a great, you know, specific image for each characters or scenes. So if I asked something, immediately he answered to me, and then he has a clear vision for everything. So it was fun and then easy to collaborate. And then he has an open mind. So listening all others actors or crews ideas, and then mix together, and then boom, this is it. So for me, very excited and easy and great experience working with them.
Oh, that's awesome. And you say that, Simon had such a vision for the characters, but what about you? Can you tell me more about the character, how you either came out with this, like your interpretation of the character, or how you perceive Scorpion before shooting?
Yes, until I got the offer, I didn't know about the game. I didn't play before, so I started to gaming. Then started research about my character, Hanzo and the Scorpion, and then I love that character. Not only, of course, this is very famous, important character, but also it was a Japanese character. And then I was happy that they offered for that role a Japanese actor. So as a Japanese actor, I wanted to make authentic Japanese background in the movie. So we discussed a lot about the costume, props, set design, and then especially at the opening of the movie, it's ancient feudal Japan, so must be authentic. So yeah, we discussed a lot about that to create authentic Japan. And also about the Scorpion. It's a very famous character from the game, and then famous costumes there. So again, we try to make a best balance between Japanese style, Japanese taste, and Western taste mixed together. And then not far from the game, but a little unique and original in this new movie. So we discussed a lot, but I think we created the best balance. So I hope the audience will enjoy both Hanzo and Scorpion.
Absolutely. And I think the authenticity really shows through. And it's that attention to detail that I think is going to really put this movie, above like other movies that are interpretations of video games. So with that, like working on, your characters, the sets, costumes, what about the stunts? Could you tell me about that training process?
I've never done any special training for this, but I just made the ideas and then research from the game or any other things all together. So I just jump into the stunt training rehearsal and then create the choreograph together. So yeah, I directly jumped into the choreography and then carrying my character and then carrying my emotion, we created the best movement for each scenes. That was the beginning of the stunt training. So just started.
That's incredible. You can really tell the athleticism in all of the scenes. I know that it's such a fun watch. I've seen it. It's so much fun. I'll definitely watch it again. So I imagine that for me as the audience, I had a lot of fun watching it. You probably had a lot of fun filming it. Do you have any fun stories that you could share?
Yeah, every moment was fun, but especially when we shot the Hanzo's death scene, that was Halloween day. So I had a lot of scars and blood on all my bodies, and then we said, oh, this is the best Halloween. And then especially for me, I usually don't wearing the costume much. So, yes, this is my best Halloween costume ever. Yeah.
Did you go into any stores like that, or did you like go
I
out?
wanted to, but they stopped me.
I'm pretty sure someone would have called someone.
Just took a photo. Yeah, Simon and all the crews. Yeah, end of the day, that was a great memory for me.
That's amazing. And they gave me this question. I feel like I already know the answer, but Scorpion or Sub-Zero?
Are you going to ask me?
I have to ask.
Get over here. I have no choice. Scorpion.
What do you think it is about Mortal Kombat that has made this franchise such a global favorite?
I would
Jess,
say
yeah,
that,
go for it.
yeah, I would say that there are so many characters in this universe that everyone can relate to a different character in some capacity. I think everyone, doesn't matter like your sex, your race, whatever, you have someone that you can identify with in this universe. So yeah, I think that's why it's so widely received.
I think, for sure that is so true. But additionally, there is something about the gore, right? I think there is something about the gore of Mortal Kombat that's not only was it controversial when it first came out, right? Which is only going to make people want to see it and be a part of it more. But it's how creative and inventive that gore has evolved over the years. I think is a reason it keeps fans coming back and growing that fan base. It's the same reason we love horror films and stuff. We sort of love to be revolted. If it's, there is sort of a secret bloodlust that we have as humans, and I think Mortal Kombat taps into that, and we explore that in the film, I think.
Absolutely. And I mean, spinning off of the games, what are your earliest memories of Mortal Kombat? Did you guys play the games?
I wasn't allowed to play Mortal Kombat growing up, so I would go to my cousin's house and play it without my parents knowing. So that was my earliest memory, and I always chose Sonia, so that's cool. It's come full circle.
Yeah, I used to play it at the corner store, on the arcade game. That's how old I am. So yeah, it was for me. I think Liu Kang was the guy I was always choosing. I feel like he was the coolest, back then. Yeah, my earliest experience was that. But I'd stepped away from it as I got older, and so when I came back to do the film, I'd realized how massively it had grown. The world just expanded beyond my comprehension. So.
Yeah, absolutely. The universe is like a multiverse in a way. There's just so many storylines, which is great. So can you guys tell me about the relationship between Sonia and Kano?
Yes, the relationship between Sonia and Kano, I think Josh said it earlier, it's we'd laugh on set. They're like an old married couple that just bicker. They're at each other's throats constantly. I could almost just get mad at him for snoring or something, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very complex, but also very fun. In the film, we need each other to, fulfill each other's agendas. So it makes it very interesting playing characters that hate each other, but they need each other. There's like this real push and pull. It's a real dance.
It is, yeah. And obviously they, from the inception of the game, they're famously enemies and antagonists, and we keep that true for the film. But yeah, there are some twists and turns in there as well. So expect the unexpected.
Absolutely. And Jessica, you mentioned it's like a dance. So that is a great segue into the choreography of this fight. Like the fights are so amazing. Can you tell me about the stunts and that training process?
Yeah, so we got out there quite early. I think I was out there the earliest. I was about there 6 weeks before filming, and our days would consist of personal training to put some muscles on these babies. And then it was, martial arts training with our sensei, Nino Pillar. Then it was on to full-on afternoons filled with stunt training with the stunt team. But it was learning skills like mixed martial arts and all of the, you know, the skills that we use throughout, but then also it was like dance training, and that we would learn choreographed sequences that then we would have to take onto set and perform like a dance. And it was like a couples dancing. Josh and I, truly at times it felt like you were learning like a partner dance. You would have to remember where his hand was going in reference to your hand and back and forth. And I will have to say that Josh was amazingly quick at learning the choreography. I was a lot slower than he was. So it was, the pressure was on. I was like, I got to up my game.
Yeah, I mean, God, maybe I'm a secret dancer. I didn't realize it, but yeah, maybe that's something I need to get into.
Baby.
Yeah. I think in one of the fatalities, though, in the later games, Kano does, I mean, he kind of kills them and then dances with their like dead body as they.
Oh, that's right.
It really is like one of the most, God, creatively just upsetting kills. It's horrible, but so maybe Kano is, you know, is not bad on the dance floor. We'll see.
He has a past life as a dancer.
Why not? Yeah.
I love that
Let it go.
backstory for him.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Yeah, but strictly Kano. Yeah.
So the cast assembled for this is truly global. I mean, everywhere, just all over the world, truly diverse and truly talented. What can you tell me about working with your castmates?
Do you want me to go or you do it, Josh?
Oh yeah, I'm always, no, I never want to talk over the top.
No, I'm just
Yeah, look, you're absolutely right. I mean, you know, one of the most exciting things is how global it is. I mean, really from all over the world.
I don't think any of us are in the same country right now trying to do this press conference from all over the world. It's crazy.
Exactly. But, you know, it became pretty clear very early on that we really did get along. And that doesn't always happen, you know. People are totally different and they thrust together and they have to get close. But no, we would socialize offset, and we would, you know, hang out on set together and laugh. And really, it was a very special group of people, and the alchemy was really great. So I miss them all, honestly.
And it's, you know, it's wild. It's cool being a white cisgendered person that I'm a minority on a set, you know, that's not common. To have so many different people from all walks of life, different races, different backgrounds it's really cool. We loved watching it unfold on set, and then seeing all of that representation on screen is cool, and it's exactly the way it should be.
And I think that has to do with a lot with the director. So how was it working with the director, Simon?
Simon's great. I adore Simon. I don't think I ever saw him ever stressed. I don't know how. He had such a huge undertaking as well, and this guy just kept his cool throughout the whole thing and kept morale up. Not that we needed it, it was so much fun, but they were really long days, and sometimes we'd be out in the middle of the desert in Australia, or it would be freezing cold and dark and rainy, and always he just kept his cool and kept morale up, and he was amazing to work with.
So true. He was consistently unflappable. He was a cool customer, but he had a very, you know, he had the thing that you want from a director, which is a clear vision,
exactly,
clearly communicated to us, you know. So he was excellent. We really looked to him. He was a great leader. I think he was always conscious of protecting the Mortal Kombat brand for the fans. You know, he was always like, gotta, you know, make sure this is the fans have put in the work. We've got to be true to the fans, and
but then still taking risks as well, you know, and
totally.
like making it his own, which is a scary thing, and there's so much pressure on him, on us as playing these characters. You know, we want to please everyone. He didn't let that overwhelm him, though. He just took it in his stride.
Yeah.
Scorpion or Sub-Zero?
Sub-Zero.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised. Scorpion for me, I think.
Oh, I just love, I mean, so he's so iconic. They both are.
Oh, nothing. I mean, he's great, but just in the world of the film as well, I feel like you know, Scorpion, just, you know, you see his backstory a bit more, and he loses his family. And, oh man, I gotta know. I guess I'm Team Scorpion.
That's good. You just get chills. I just got chills though whenever you see like that scene where he just like breaks all that ice on the street. It's just so iconic. It's so great.
What do you
Uh,
think it is about Mortal Kombat that has made this franchise such like a global favorite?
well, I think because it's the diversity for sure. It represents like all races all over the world, and then of course everybody feel represented, and then they feel like they have their hero in the game, in the movie. So I think that's probably the main thing that makes this franchise like global and so famous, and everybody loves it because people feel represented.
Absolutely. And that actually is a great segue to my next question. The cast assembled for this film is truly global, as you mentioned. They're truly diverse and truly talented. What can you
Thank you.
tell me about working with your castmates?
Well, it was super fun experience, and we played together, we trained together, and then we had so much fun in a weekend together. But we work like a dog together. So I think the bond between us is just so strong that me and Louis, we're still in touch until now. We have a group. We're still in touch talking about our experience in life and etc. So I think the brotherhood, the family vibe in this one, that the key element, like if the like this movie, could do, we haven't released the movie yet, but I believe that this movie is special for all of us because the bond, the family vibe that we gave, that we put our heart on the table together. We want to do something special. I remember Louis said, "We're gonna break records, man. We're gonna do this, and then this movie is gonna represent everybody." And then this is the first action like fantasy movie that a lot of Asians in it, and also a lot of like involving like so many like all colors feel represented. So this is something special that we need to just give everything and then let's hope for the best. And he's right. We broke record and like most watched trailer, R rating, most watched trailers. So I'm sure that we're gonna break more records. I hope so. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I'm on team break records for sure. So tell us about working with the director Simon McCoy.
Well, Simon, my relationship with Simon reached the point that we didn't have to say anything to agree in a very beautiful way. Because I think I ask a lot of questions before we shoot. I was like the one that I just hassled Todd Garner, the producer. That I need to talk to Simon. I need to talk to Simon, and I know Simon was super busy preparing the movie. And then okay, just discuss with me, and then I discussed a lot with Todd. I want to do this, I want to do that, and then I met Simon, and then we talk about it like constantly, like almost every day, and reached the point that I look him in the eye, and he looked me in the eye. He's just like, and then that understanding between two artists, that's priceless. It means we vibed, we resonated. What I wanted, what he wanted, it just suddenly with the glance of like we just look at each other, let's do this, and then we did it. And then he said like, and I was like, so that's I know I'm having goosebumps now. For me, it's very rare to have that relationship with a director that you just have this magical vibe that you just resonated to each other, like for the sake like what we're gonna do, that understanding. So Simon is my hero, and I love him, and I hope I can work with him again someday.
That's amazing. I also have goosebumps now. So this movie, I've seen it. I'll watch it over and over again because the stunts in this film are so epic. Can you tell me
Thank you.
about that process and how did your martial arts background prepare you for this role?
Well, my martial arts background helped me a lot for this role for sure. My background, I used to be an athlete for 12 years, helped me a lot because all my muscle memory, my fitness, my endurance helped me a lot in the process of preparing for Sub-Zero and all the fights that I did in the movie. So I think the key is trust and training, and then martial arts background, but you cannot really bring something to a movie because when you jump to a movie, the choreography, the character is different, and then in this one I have to play a Sub-Zero assassin from Lin Kuei that mastered in a lot of Asian martial arts, especially Chinese martial arts. I cannot really bring myself as a judoka or Indonesian silat guy to this because I need to come with an empty glass and then let all the knowledge, all this information to fill me. But of course, my background as martial artist helped me a lot in terms of my body structure, my muscles, and my rhythm in understanding fight, my instinct in understanding when to stop, when to be fast, when to slow down, or when to glare, or when to evade. All those things help me a lot. But still, the song is Assassins from the Lin Kuei song. But the way I sing, of course, that helped me a lot, performing the song, performing the fight.